guys, with this one right here, we done got Wesavelli back in Blammings. Got back in Blammings, Wesavelli, and just with this one coming into it and the whole thing, and just the whole, it's a scandal music video with everything else. But you got the Blammings, you got they back into it with the Blammings and everything else. But you just got with this one right here coming into it, and just with the Blammings and the main Scorfit, which is Blammings.
This one sounded like a horror movie. Nightmare in Croxton. This be made aside, don't really do bandanas. Don't get that shit fucked up, we got many a hammers. Slide out semis, matics, get the drop with banging cannons. Really with this gang shit, get it back and Blammings. Crocs to VBK, pick a block and drill on one. I shot me at IC3 or 2, most of the time at IC1. Jump in that fours and blend, we got many a hammers. Nightmare in Croxton, sounding like a horror movie. Nightmare in Croxton. This be made aside, don't really do bandanas. Don't get that shit fucked up, we got many a hammers. Slide out semis, matics, get the drop with banging cannons. Really with this gang shit, get it back and Blammings. Crocs to VBK, pick a block and drill on one. I shot me at IC3 or 2, most of the time.
Ooh, I shot me at IC2, pick a block, and we choosing that one, and we icing up. Like, hey, he said pick one of your chooses one, and then we gon' like clicks that whole, block up. You like he said, and then he said with the IC1, we didn't did our whole thing, froze up the whole game block, with the whole thing coming into it. Like he said, picking one, choosing the one, this whole thing, like, the way they just fiction and picking and sticksing.
I'm at IC1, jump in that fours and blends. IC1 he'll meet his end. That man did me bad to flip the script, a shot a friend. OMG, where's his rapping again? Look, the rappers are fuming. I can rap out guns and shot down many a human. The realest man to be in the building, why is he suicidal? Soon as I land the road I'm sliding, all them minions best be hiding. This be made aside, don't really do bandanas. Don't get that shit fucked up, we got many a hammers. Slide out semis, matics, get the drop with banging cannons. Really with this gang shit, get it back and Blammings. I don't try a do, fill that mag up, glide and kill. My man fell, his blood spill here, there's photo strepsil. This the pool, we bang off waps, where you going with that utensil? Them man they retarded, bringing nanks where guns get clattered. As kids we plays with my man.
Ooh, the whole thing, like he said, as kids, we was doing this. Like I didn't really hear that, that whole lyrics, but he was putting the whole thing into it. Like he said, and then he said, like, the pick and choose thing and everything else, like, whoosh. And he said, just spinning with the whole, just with the whole Chanskis, everything else, like, just from their side coming from it, like, it's just a crazy, eternally, like, the way they just picking and screws, and like he said, eternity and everything else, with this whole half of a skill, everything else, like they got a half of a skill, half of most brills.
Man fell, his blood spill here, there's photo strepsil. This the pool, we bang off waps, where you going with that utensil? Them man they retarded, bringing nanks where guns get clattered. As kids we plays with G-locks, that's what got the G's locked. Now the trolling cat.
Oh, as kids we played with GA, the whole thing's like, hey, he said G's and all these jeans and feet, so I'm getting, he was playing, all these toys, like it was federal toys, and in a way when he was, just a citrus, a boy.
And dancing, making TikToks. Don't wanna hear that gang shit, bitch boy, best you kick rocks. It's in the post, the dude's a app and that man's getting his wig rocked. This be made aside, don't really do bandanas. Don't get that shit fucked up, we got many a hammers. Slide out semis, matics, get the drop with banging cannons. want pussy, I want shmoney, I want metal. Sex, money, schmurder, what you reckon? Got that Mauser rifle, that one there's a weapon. Can't trust no hold a trifle and put my trust in a rifle. Baby girl, you're still the baddest, true, you stash my matics. Love that pussy splash and show your man gymnastics. Put that foot on shoulder, bring that pump nearer. Hold it, dig it, hood so fat I'm due to tear it. This be murder side, don't really do bandanas. Don't get that shit fucked up, we got many a hammers. Slide out semis, matics, get the drop with banging cannons. Really with this gang shit, get it back in Blammings. This be murder side, don't really do bandanas. Don't get that shit fucked up, we got many a hammers.
We said don't get dashed. You know, we don't do bandanas. Hey, so hey, like that they got a different, bridge out there, how they, this line on everything else, like what they do, because they don't really use the half of the stuff that we do, like, and all this other stuff. So it's like, you see how you see it and everything else. Like he said, we don't do bandanas and the whole thing. Like they have a search of different stuff. Like they have their own type of, bridges of, their own bridges of stuff, like their own, even their own fits too. Like they have their own kind of desire, and just Dior, like when it just comes to them Dior, because they have their own kind of stuff coming on, like the whole thing. But he said, sliding in the whole thing, we got plenty of, scammers and all these other stuff. So it's like, how you really see it, how prevent it. It's like the way it's just for loofing.
Slide out semis, matics, get the drop with banging cannons. Really with this gang shit, get it back in Blammings.
Hey, sheesh. Hey, and my boy he had to watch with it too. I didn't even expect that. Like I didn't even see that. So he had the whole thing, coming in with it too. Like he had to watch on it. Like especially with that fit, I couldn't even see with that type of fit. I wouldn't see no watch on somebody, because that fit was kind of like some type of, scanner feel. But hey, back in, Blammings, this was a crazy one. The way it was just internally and the way it was scomming, like it was crazy to even, comprehend with this, because it was a whole like list of things coming into it, with the whole thing. But you got just with this one right here and everything else, and just with this. But make sure you guys check this out for you guys self, everything else, and just with this one.